Good evening, guys, and happy Wednesday to all of your sunshiny faces. Guys, I was actually up somewhat earlier today. I ended up getting everything on my planner done again today. I did dishes, laundry, edited, uploaded. I did my German lesson. I also, too, guys, wow, I am a little bit in shock. I will have to share this with you guys in regards to some gardening things right now. But I realized I haven't been out in the garden since I think my dad ended up, or me and my dad finished building that other garden bed, because I don't think that I was out there really at all on Sunday. Maybe I was. Maybe I watered the stuff. And then I know I wasn't on the 4th of July. I know I wasn't yesterday because I was like, I don't even need to check it because it's been raining. You know, it rained yesterday. It rained on 4th of July on Monday. And so today it didn't, but I think it's supposed to rain tomorrow night again. But I am going to water the hanging baskets because, like, I had to do that today because, like, the fern and the one basket that's in the front, like under the stoop sort of, it's covered, it was actually really dry, and the other one too in the backyard as well that's underneath the deck. So I had to water those ones since they don't get any rain anyway. But like tomorrow, it wasn't really actually really hot out today even, but I still like can't really even, you know, even if it just rained, they don't retain moisture for a very long time, so I still will need to water them. So anyways, I did do that today as well. But one of the things that I did get today out of the garden was I got a zucchini. So I was actually pretty, I didn't expect to find one of this size. I feel like this is actually good size. I maybe would have actually preferred it a little bit smaller, just because in the past we have sometimes let our zucchini grow very big, and honestly it's like, while you still can eat it, it's like the seeds are stinking huge then inside of the zucchini, and they're sort of like tough to eat. And so I felt like this was actually a pretty good size. Like I said, I might have wanted it to be a little bit smaller, but this overall isn't too bad of a size either. Like I said, normally the ones that you find in the grocery store are like between that size and like more of a cucumber size sort of. So like I said, I didn't think that that was that bad. It probably was on the bigger end. But like I said, I was actually happy that we ended up finding that, because had I let it grow anymore, probably, like I said, it wouldn't have been inedible, but it just would have been to the point where I was like, yeah, this isn't like that tasty. So anyways, though, we did wind up getting that out of the garden. But like I said, I was just out there, like it had to have been at least maybe Saturday. Friday had to have been the very like last time that I was out there. Like I said, I think it was Saturday, and honestly I don't know how, like, and all of the zucchinis, there's a lot more that are coming in, but they're maybe about like that big or so. Like they're very small, and so like probably a third of that size. And so I don't know how I missed it and didn't see that, because like I said, all the other ones that are growing around there, I was like, oh, like I'm not even, you know, like expecting to be picking any of these anytime soon, because they all looked about, like I said, that size. And so like I said, I don't know how just randomly over like a couple days all of a sudden there's one that's big enough out there. I must have completely, like I said, missed it, to have not seen it, and then, you know, it was like, you know, that size when I actually did finally see it. So that was kind of cool. The other cool thing that I've started, guys, and already it actually looks like these are sprouting. So I want to share with you guys. I did this earlier today. And so I think I've been talking about this. I've been talking about the green onions for a good portion of time now, because I told you guys how several years ago I ended up planting a green onion, and maybe a couple of them. I started, like I did the windowsill, like sprouting them in, like, you can, you know, food scraps, like regrowing food scraps. And so I've done it with green onions before, and I've seen, I might have even done it with what's it called, celery before, but I don't think that I've ever like planted in the garden. But I did do it with green onions. So green onions we bought from the store. There were, let's see, 7 in a package. I ended up cutting the tops off of them, and we just used those, and then the bottoms I ended up saving. And they already look like they're possibly starting to grow a little bit. Now, because I don't necessarily know if it's just the outside, like the green onions, you know, they have, you know, onions in general, they have layers. And so I'm not sure if it's just like the outside is starting to dry out, so that's why it's sort of shrinking away and causing the inside of it to actually look like it's growing. But the weird thing is that I don't think that that is what would be happening with the celery, and the celery also has that. So I'll show you guys what I mean. And then the I also did romaine lettuce, and so like I said, I'm going to try and plant that in the garden as well, because you can do that with food scraps as well. You can do it really with anything that still has like the root bottom to it, so like celery, really most types, not all types, but most types of lettuce. I would assume that even iceberg lettuce you possibly could, but iceberg lettuce is not really a kind that a lot of like home gardeners really grow in their garden. A lot of times it's just like leaf lettuce, like Boston, I think it's called Boston lettuce maybe, romaine, like we did I think romaine one year. We have some type of like regular like leaf lettuce, and also too red lettuce, there's a little bit of that. Like you can do, I would, like I said, I don't really know that I've ever seen anybody grow like iceberg lettuce, and I've never even seen seeds for it or anything like that. Again, I would assume that you can. I don't know how you necessarily grow it from like scraps, but either way, like I said, I'll show you guys what these ones on the windowsill look like. So this is the celery. As you guys can see, I just filled up a jar of water, and you could probably do this in just like a thin Tupperware, but I didn't get anything that could really fit on the windowsill well, so I just put in a couple of stakes of this. But you guys see that, like already that little bit that is sort of up there. Let's see if I can try and get this down carefully. See that like little bit that's already sort of in the top there? Like I said, I've seen the green onions before, and they more grow than like green sort of like at the tops of it. Like if you guys can see that little one almost on the end right there of the green onion, like that actually looks like it's new growth. And like I said, I literally ended up doing this today, and if you guys can see too, like this part, like I said, the sort of outside part of the green onion looks like it's sort of drying out, which makes me think that like, oh, that's why like this is a little bit taller or whatever. But at the same time too, it also looks like there's possibly some new stuff coming in already. So these ones were a little bit too short, so I just put tape on the end to sort of like secure them on there a little bit better. But like I said, already I'm thinking that they're sort of doing okay. And then lastly right here, I've got the romaine lettuce, which I'm not really too sure that there's anything much going on with that yet. Like I said, oh no, maybe that is that green stuff that's actually around the outside already. Like, do you guys see that? Like I said, I literally ended up doing this like late afternoon, so I feel really weird saying like this is sprouting sort of already, but at the same time too, it definitely looks like there's some like sprouting happening a little bit. When I've done the green onions in the past, I remember it didn't take that long, but I was still thinking that like this would take a little bit longer than I was sort of, like I said, expecting. But yeah, I don't know how soon after you can plant them in the ground, but because I was like, oh, you know, like it's gonna stink if I can't even, like if I plant this stuff and then it, you know, is sort of like pointless, because it'll be like, you know, take forever to grow and then we won't wind up getting anything. But like if this is how fast this is growing already, I could probably plant it in the garden in the next like maybe couple weeks, I'm thinking, maybe even sooner than that, and then actually like harvest it. And like the same thing too, like with the green onions, you can just snip the tops off and then it just basically keeps growing back. Like that's what we ended up doing with, like I said, that green onion that we grew. And the thing was too with that onion was that it actually kept coming back like year after year, I guess. Like I said, from the little bit of research that I've done, because I'm growing the leeks in the garden, because I got those leeks on clearance, because they take apparently a really long season to grow. Like you have to plant them early in spring to be able to get them by like basically after the first frost is when you're sort of supposed to harvest them. So they take a really long time. But what I read is that you can actually leave them over the winter. They will come back and they will actually, the bulbs will multiply. And so you can then get, you know, like a continuous harvest from it. So I was like, well, why don't I just do that with the ones that I got on clearance? Then I can actually get more from them next year. But I believe that is somewhat similar to green onions. I don't know if they like multiply, but they do wind up coming back. Like I said, we planted that one that I had that was in there. I planted it, like I said, I think I did one or two on the window, or, you know, windowsill like before. I had like a couple that ended up coming back, like over the, you know, like over the winter. And I think I had it for maybe 3 years or something like that. I honestly don't know how it tasted. I don't know if you're supposed to like leave it in for that long. But like I said, I know it came back at least for 1 year. I thought maybe for 2 years. And I think maybe this was in our old garden bed. Like the old one that we had, not the new ones that we ended up building. So like I said, I don't know, but I'm surprised, like I said, that these scrap foods are growing so quickly already. Like it looks like it's been 1 day. And like I said, I, you know, would just sort of like chalk it up to being like more of like, you know, again with the thing with the onions, and like the same thing too is that, because I think what sort of happens is that the regrowth happens like from the middle out, and then the actual like old stuff sort of dies. At least again, that was sort of what I noticed a little bit with the onion. But you know, like, and you can have it sort of like I said where it like comes up from the top, and then that's sort of how you harvest it. But like I said, then it can be a continuous harvest thing, because then if you wind up getting a whole new piece of, you know, like celery, you can just basically do the exact same thing all over again and then just regrow it and then plant it again. So like I said, it's, you know, and the onions I think I could just leave out there again too. I don't know how much of this stuff like sort of like can be left over the winter, but as far as the lettuce goes, normally, like, I'm surprised so far this year, maybe it's because we did it a little late, but our lettuce has not bolted yet. Normally I have my lettuce bolt and then I just save the seeds from it and it comes back, and it basically comes back almost every single year because the seeds just wind up back in the dirt and then they just regrow again. So like I said, I have never really had too much of a problem with the lettuce, and the same thing with the spinach. My spinach is doing that though, which is sort of funny, and not my lettuce, which is normally, I've always had problems sort of the opposite way around. So either way though, I am pretty happy with, you know, like I said, my little garden experiment. That we'll see how it goes, but yeah, that's my gardening update for you guys for today. We'll see how this continues to grow, and I will see too, like okay, as I say that, I have avocados sitting on the windowsill too, waiting to get ripe. Me and my mom have tried 100 million times to grow avocados, to do like avocado tree in like a planter. Never ever have had success with that, but I do sort of want to see what else we can grow. Like I said, I know avocados are sort of like the popular ones for like to grow and stuff like that, and I've always seen people growing them and like read about how to do that. And like I said, this was like back when I was little. My mom used to try and grow avocados, and every single time she's like, save the pit so we can try and grow an avocado tree. Every single time, it never works. I've seen other things though where you're supposed to like soak it in a paper towel first and then start it, and basically you do the same thing. You're supposed to put like the toothpicks in it, and then you put it in the water and everything like that, and that's how it's supposed to start growing. Like I said, I've had success with all of the green vegetables, but as far as you know, like I said, the avocado goes, it's never worked. But like I said, I am curious about how many and what other kinds of like you know, like things that you can grow. I've seen that you can do it with like even carrots, like carrot tops. You can cut the top off and then start the carrots like top with the leaves, and then it will just wind up like regrowing too. To me, it's just, you can like, one carrot to do that with is not so like proficient. It's just easier to do with carrot seeds. But I think that, like I said, celery, onions, that like I said can come back most every year, and even the romaine lettuce I think is more of a worth it. You can get a lot from like one plant, sort of like, again, celery, you can get an entire thing of celery by just regrowing one celery stalk, you know, or not singular celery stalk. Actually, you might sort of be able to, I don't really know, but anyways, just like I said, doing the celery like that, and even like the green onions, like space wise, I'd need, in order to get like a lot of carrots, I'd have to have a big space to be able to start all of them. To me, it's just easier to do them in the garden, in from seed. Like one carrot is only going to produce like one more carrot, so it's not really worth it to do it, like I said, like, you know, do a whole little jar just for one carrot regrowing. I'd rather, like I said, just do them out in the garden, because I've actually surprisingly probably have about 10 carrots, which I've never had success with carrots. And again, the carrot tops right now are actually kind of big, so I'm surprised about that. I've never, like I said, had much success. But so far, if you guys saw, we got the zucchini, the one zucchini that we picked today. I ended up getting a bunch of beets, and so far we've had one tomato. So that's all we've harvested so far. But again, kind of cool that we're already, like I said, getting into like some harvesting stuff. And we didn't even get the garden in like that long ago, I feel like. And then too, we've slowly, as we finished off the last of the beds, have been getting like a little bit more put in, so some of the stuff will probably be much later. But like everything is pretty much flowering as well. All of the beans and the peas and trying to think what else, like all the zucchini, yellow squash. I'm surprised too, even my little spaghetti squash plant that I got at Walmart, it actually is almost starting to have flowers on it, which I'm super excited about. I don't know how the cucumbers are doing, really. And like the butternut squash, I couldn't like really tell because they're kind of mixed in right now where the cucumbers and the butternut squash, and then too the cantaloupe is like taking over. I couldn't really tell where some of those like plants were and what was actually flowering. I do know the cantaloupe is flowering like crazy. And then also too, there looks like there's some random volunteers in the garden. Like there's some random, it looks like it's either zucchini or yellow squash, and like all the way down at the far end of the bed, which is so weird because other than the first year I think we had these new garden beds, I don't think I've ever planted like zucchini there, so I don't know how it got all the way down to the other end of the bed. But like there's that, and like I said, I think there's another plant that's also down towards the end that might be either cantaloupe, another cantaloupe, or else it could be the watermelon, like a volunteer from last year. So I don't know, we'll have to see what else winds up coming in. But for right now, like already I'm pretty happy with what we've gotten out of the garden. And like I know too, like there's tons of tomatoes, they're just all green right now, and still a lot more is flowering, plus the late tomatoes that we got in as well. So like I said, overall I'm, you know, pretty satisfied, at least with the like what is the possibility of what we could wind up getting out of the garden. We could wind up with a huge ton amount of stuff and that would be awesome. But anyways guys, I will update you if there's especially a significant amount of growth tomorrow on these plants. I'll share that with you guys, but I will not have a haul for you guys tomorrow because I told you guys we're changing that to Friday. So like I said, I'll share with you guys if there's anything I notice, anything different, and this doesn't just look like some weird like illusion or shrinkage of like the outer part of the plant or something like that. If it is actually growth, that would be really cool. I could wake up tomorrow and there's like a whole like leaves coming out of it or something. But either way, I will share with you guys if there is any change. But if you guys did enjoy today's vlog, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, I'd love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye guys.